Alright guys, Brentford have just beaten Liverpool by 3-1. Poor performance from Liverpool, brilliant performance from Brentford. Video done. Brentford, by the first 5 minutes of both halves, were just the better side really. Had the ball in the back of the net 5 times throughout the game, 4 times in the first half, and Liverpool were just an absolute mess, especially from set pieces. First goal, Konate own goal, which, to be fair, he couldn't do a lot about. Konate had quite a poor game, but I don't think he was really at fault for this one. It came off Mee's hand, but I don't think it was handball. I just think there's no intention there, and there's clearly no intent to control it for the ball. It shouldn't be really a handball. It was completely accidental. And although it does play a big role in the goal, it'd be very harsh to disallow it, in my opinion. And you think from that point, right, Liverpool just desperately need to wake up now, because they had a couple of chances first 10-15 minutes through Nunez and Tsimikas. Ben Mee actually made a superb goal line clearance for the Nunez chance really early on, which, I mean, could have really altered the direction the game went, so fair play to Ben Mee for that. And David Raya made a really good save to deny Tsimikas, and fair play to him. Other than that though, David Raya wasn't really tested that much by Liverpool, which is really disappointing as a Liverpool fan. But Brentford had two other goals disallowed in the first half, and were quite unfortunate because the one was a really close offside decision, and I can't remember with the other one. I think it might have been a similar thing, or it could have been a handball or something like that. There were that many goals and that much chaos in the first half. I can't even remember myself. But the Wissa goal, which it was a good header, and it came straight away after conceding 2 disallowed goals for Liverpool. So Liverpool really should have been alert at that point, but weren't. And for me, I just think although Konate had a really poor game today, I think the one player I look at the moment and just think he's not playing at the level required is actually Virgil van Dijk. The Young Wissa goal just before half time, although he's not the one who should be marking Wissa, he doesn't pick up anyone, which means Konate and Trent are stuck between 3 players. So that means they've got to pick and hope that it falls to that player. And Konate picks the player in front of him, Trent picks the player behind him, which leaves Wissa free. Whereas if Van Dijk had been a bit more aware of what was going on, they could all have picked a man up. So not good enough really. And at half time I was thinking to myself, Van Dijk, I would just sub him off here and bring Matip on, because I'm just sick of it, to be honest. And he did get subbed off. It's reportedly because he's got an injury. I wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't, because he's not been good enough this season. I don't know, maybe playing Matip and Konate would show that to Van Dijk that he's not undroppable, and it could be the kick up the backside that he sort of needs. Because people like Trent this season has been dragged through the mud in terms of criticism, and don't get me wrong, he has been poor at times this season, but I think Van Dijk deserves equally as much, because he's been nowhere near the level. Tsimikas, I didn't think had a good game. I think it was probably his worst performance this season, but I can allow a one-off. Tsimikas is usually a good performer for Liverpool. Similar thing for Konate, to be honest. It just wasn't his day at all. And the other 2 subs at half, Robbo came on for Tsimikas, and Keita came on for Elliott. And I didn't think Elliott was that bad in the first half. I just think he failed to make an impact, but he didn't do an awful lot wrong. He's not the one you're expecting to stop set pieces from going in. And the other problem Liverpool have got at the moment is Salah and Nunez, to me, just don't make a good fit. I've got this thing with Salah at the moment where 12 months ago, in the past 12 months, I don't think Salah has been anywhere near the level he has been previously for Liverpool. The end of last season, everyone said that he wasn't playing like half the player he was in the first half of last season. And the first half of this season, he's done well goal scoring wise. His stats are as they should be: 2 goals in every 3 games, roughly, which is good. But his overall game's not been anywhere near as good as it has been in previous seasons. And I put a lot of that down to the fact that Firmino, in the first 5 or so years, 4.5 years that Salah's been at Liverpool, he's had Firmino playing with him virtually non-stop. Firmino's fitness record up until about a year ago has been superb. But in the past 12 months, Firmino's picked up a lot of niggling injuries. And when Salah hasn't got Firmino alongside him, he doesn't look like half the player. I just think Salah and Nunez don't fit at all. And with Cody Gakpo coming in to Liverpool, it really wouldn't surprise me if Liverpool are looking to potentially offload Salah this season. I don't know if that would be a mistake, because he does guarantee goals, but he's not playing anywhere near the level. And Oxlade-Chamberlain, I don't think he played too badly. He took his goal well at the start of the second half when Liverpool looked revitalised after the substitutions. Robertson in particular made a real difference when he came on the pitch. I thought Matip played well for the second half as well. But after about 10 minutes though, once Liverpool did have the Nunez goal disallowed, and which he was quite unfortunate with, to be fair, because it was very tight, and he did take the goal well, but he missed up multiple other opportunities in the game, which I don't mind, but at some point you need to score goals, is the problem. And yeah, he did take that well, but Oxlade-Chamberlain, the problem with Ox is he's not a left winger. He played quite well, but because he was having to come central and he was making a few things happen here and there, and he did take his header well, it left a lot of space out on the left which no one was really filling, and especially in the first half. And it only started working when Liverpool were on top in the second half, when Robertson pushed really far forward. But once Brentford realised, right, we need to protect our lead here, and stopped, spaces in behind, then there was absolutely nothing going on the left. So that became a real problem. So yeah, for Liverpool, it's partly a problem of lacking depth of or injuries being consistent in particular positions, because there are some positions where Liverpool have got multiple choices of who to play, but it's also partly down to poor form. And I think there are players in this squad for Liverpool who do need to be moved on. The time has come, because I think Klopp had a similar situation. I'm not an expert in this field, but I think Klopp had a similar, from what I've gathered, situation at Dortmund when he left in 2015. There were players who needed to be moved on, who, when Dortmund had gone through their period of success in the early 2010s, that needed to be moved on and weren't. And Klopp, wanted to remain loyal to them. And I'm starting to think, are there players in this team where the same thing needs to be happened? Same thing needs to happen. Sorry. I know there have been a couple of players where this has happened to. We've played. I think Wijnaldum. You could argue that sort of happened with him. But yeah, I also think this game shows how important Jordan Henderson is to this team as well. Henderson takes a fair bit of flack, but when you've got a team like Liverpool, who, despite the poor form this season, are still one of the best teams in the country, if we're being honest, I know over the past 6 months they haven't been, they're still in the top 6. You can't really argue with that. I mean, I think they're still 6th in the league. The fact that Jordan Henderson is that important to a team that are a European team shows a lot, really, and he doesn't deserve half the criticism he gets, Jordan Henderson. So Fabinho, I also don't think looks at the level. Van Dijk doesn't. Thiago, I don't think he's suiting the system right now. Thiago plays very well in this Liverpool team when all the players are fit, when it's a strong team. That's when Thiago plays well. But when it's like this, and Liverpool, need to, play fast-paced football and can't just settle for this slow possession-based football and score a couple of goals a game. When Liverpool need to score, desperately. That's not when you want Thiago in the team, so that's a bit of a problem as well. But I also want to talk about Brentford, because Brentford were brilliant set pieces. It was a game very reminiscent of that Arsenal game at the start of last season, where any time the ball went into Arsenal's box, it looked like causing problems, and that's a similar situation in this game with Liverpool. So, fair play to them. They were brilliant. And Mbeumo, Wissa in attack, superb. The midfield was brilliant, and the defence coped really well in the second half and stopped Liverpool from, causing many problems. But yeah, we'll get into player ratings. So we'll start with Brentford. I've given David Raya a 6. That might be a bit harsh, because he did make a couple of saves, but I just didn't feel as though he was tested enough. I don't think he had an awful lot to do, to be honest. Then the back three, Jorgensen and Pinnock, I've given 7s. I think they defended solidly, but I've given Ben Mee an 8, because I thought he was brilliant to make that crucial goal line stop from Darwin Núñez in that first half, and it was a big presence in the attacking when the ball did get lumped into the box from Brentford. So yeah, I think an 8 is definitely fair for him. The wing backs, Roerslev and Rico Henry, have given both 7s, got up and down the pitch really well. Loads of energy, and especially in the second half, stopped there being spacing behind for Salah and Robertson out wide. So yeah, really good. And in the midfield, I've given Jensen a 7 as well. Worked his socks off. Janelt, I've given a 6. I think he was the only Brentford performer today who I felt a little bit like he occasionally got caught in possession, or maybe was a bit slow to close players down. I felt he maybe could have done a little better with the Liverpool goal in terms of closing. I think it was Trent Down who put the cross in. So I've given him a 6. He still didn't have a bad game though. And the front two, I've given him Mbeumo an 8 and Wissa a 7. But my man of the match is Christian Norgard in the centre of midfield. He was absolutely superb, making tons of tackles and interceptions, it felt like anyway. And again, another big presence in the opposition box, and had a really good game today, Christian Norgard. Then we'll go on to Liverpool. Alisson I've given a 7. Liverpool's best player, simple as. None of the goals he was really at fault for. Made quite a few saves throughout the game, especially in the first half. And yeah, he doesn't deserve what's happened to this team, because he's been superb. He's been the only real consistent performer this season for Liverpool. Every single game, very few mistakes made this season. Then the defence, Trent I've given a 6. I don't think he was at fault for anything really today. And he also put in a brilliant cross for the Oxlade-Chamberlain goal, so I don't think he deserves any criticism today. Canate I've given a 4. Look, he just had one of those games. It was a poor game from him. First game back though from the World Cup, so I'll let it slide just this once. Van Dijk I've given a 5, because he wasn't horrendous today, but he was below par. So I'll say this now, I want to see Matip and Canate at the back in Liverpool's next Premier League game. I think it's against Brighton in 10 days or so, or something like that. So yeah, I don't want to see him, I want him, out of the starting 11, just to see if that seems to change anything. Tsimikas I've given a 5 as well. For the 45 minutes game, he was on the pitch, just wasn't really as good as he normally is. Didn't really get forward, and did waste a good opportunity in the first half. And then the entire midfield for Liverpool I've given 6s, because they weren't horrendous, but they weren't good enough. Thiago, he does what he does, but you don't need him in this situation. He's just, spraying passes left to right, but not really making anything happen. Elliott I didn't think was too bad, and Fabinho again, I don't think he did too much wrong. So I've given them all 6s, and then the front three, Salah I've given a 5, because he just failed to get involved at all really in this game. I can't remember him having a shot. Not enough really. Núñez I've given a 6, ran his socks off again, caused problems, but failed to take chances once again. So yeah, anything more than a 6 would just be wrong. And then finally in the starting 11, I've given Ox 5. He took his goal well, made a few things happen, but again, didn't really get involved. I think that might be more down to the fact that he's played out of position more than anything in this game. So I think 5 might be a bit harsh. I'll up that to a 6. Ox, I'll give a 6. I think that's more fair. And then the substitutes, Cater I've given a 5. He didn't do too badly for about half an hour, and then gave the ball away for that third goal that Brentford scored. So, you know, I'm not interested in Liverpool offering Cater a new contract. I wouldn't mind seeing him leave in the summer on a free transfer. Robertson, I've given a 7. He just, added a bit of life to the team in the start of the second half when he came on the pitch and did reasonably well. So I think he was probably Liverpool's best outfield player in this game. And then Matip I've also given a 6. Again, decent performance, but didn't. Well, it's hard to say because Brentford obviously sat further back, so Matip wasn't tested as much as Van Dijk, to be fair to Van Dijk, but Matip looks a bit more controlled on the ball is what I would give him. But yeah, poor performance from Liverpool and brilliant performance from Brentford. That's the story really. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.